Today we're looking at the CE4 Clearomizer. We're going to go over how to fill it, which is pretty simple on these units, and I'm going to give you a couple important tips on how to use it and how to get the best out of it. Here at E-Cigarettes Australia, we keep it in a range of colours as pictured here: clear, purple, green. We call this one black, it's more of a smoky colour, red and blue. So it is available in a few different options there colour wise. We're going to have a look at this clear one. This is what's supplied in our kits. It comes in our Discover kit, the CE4 kit, and the X6 kit also carries this one. Generally in your kits you will get the clear one, but as they are replaceable, if you want something a bit different down the track, we do have them in these other colours. They're all exactly the same price. But moving on, let's open this one up, take him out of his packet. So there's your unit. It's got some markings on the side. They go to 1.6 mil. I generally fill them up a little higher than that, but that's entirely up to you, as long as you don't overfill them, which I'll go over. Maintenance really is just basically keeping the base here clean. You can just use a tissue to give that a clean out every now and again, because that's where it connects to your battery. They do get grimy over time, and that can affect your connection and how they perform as well if you're not getting a really solid connection. So always keep your connecting parts grime free if possible. Now filling, these are, before I fill it, we'll go over it in a bit of detail. It's a top coil clearomizer, so that your heating element's in the top, and you've got a couple of, you've got about 4 wicks there either side that come down the side, which is very important to keep the whole wick system moist, or these can be problematical if they're not. Then they don't have a replaceable coil like a lot of the other clearomizers. I think nearly all our other clearomizers you only have to replace the coil, but this one is just one unit. When it's burned out or no longer working as it should, you need to throw the whole unit away and buy another one, because they're not rebuildable or replaceable. Now filling is, they fill through the mouthpiece end, but you must take the mouthpiece off, which just screws counterclockwise off, like so. So you take that off. It does have a little O-ring there. It's important not to lose that. It is on there reasonably tight. Don't lose it. If you lose it, it's a waste of time putting it back on, because they will just leak if you do that. So you do need that O-ring. Don't lose it. Filling, we'll go over that. You can see this centre post there in the middle. That is your air hole. We do not want to put fluid in that air hole. We fill around the side of the glass. You can see this plastic part here. That's inside the glass. Poke your needle bottle. And the other thing is, if you've got these units and you haven't brought a kit and you don't have one of these needle bottles, highly recommend buying one. We do have them for sale separately, because especially if using this clearomizer, much easier than just filling from your liquid bottle. So hold it on an angle, poke your needle down the side, and just slowly fill it up. Just fill a little bit, let it flow down, put a bit more, maybe move your needle to the other side. And I generally fill mine up to the bottom of that plastic collar in there, just somewhere around that, which is just above the 1.6 mil mark. Just hold it upright to let it flow down, because it will get stuck in the side there. Just give it a bit of a swirl to get it moving down, so you can see where it's at. That'll take a little bit more in there. That's near enough for what we're doing today. It's pretty much to the top of that 1.6mm mark. So once you've done that, you just put the top back on and just finger tight just till he stops turning. That's it. You don't need to, you know, over tighten it. It's just finger tight till it only goes up so far, and that's it. Now, the important point with these Clearomizers, on your first fill, don't just fill them, put them straight on your battery and start vaping. You need to get that wick in there nice and wet. So I recommend giving them a bit of a shake around like I'm doing here, a bit of a spin, and then leaving them for at least 10 minutes before you use them the first time. Because what happens is people fill them up straight away, whack them on their battery, start vaping, and all they get is a burning flavour. That burning flavour is from a dry wick. Your wick will be wet down the bottom, but where the actual heating element is, which is up in the centre here, you can't see it, it's internal, but it's inside, your wick will be dry. These wicks will soak up the juice and they will become fully moistened, but you need to give them time to do that. And we recommend a minimum of 10 minutes, and if you like just playing with things like I'm doing here, it's good to just give them a swirl round and just let them soak them juices up for a minimum of 10 minutes, because that is really the only problem that these Clearomizers encounter, and it's from user error, people not letting them get nice and wet before they use them. They can also dry out if you've left them for a couple of days without using it. You know, maybe you've got 3 or 4 filled up and you haven't used one for a few days, and if you've got them sitting like that, they will dry out. Gravity, the juice will dry out. They whack them on their battery, start vaping, and all they get is this burning flavour. Then they're on the phone to me complaining. But it's, if you're storing them, store them laying down. And if you haven't used one for a couple of days, when you go to use it, give it a bit of a shake, give it a bit of a roll around, get the juice flowing in them, and leave them for 5 minutes to soak up the juice. Top them back up with juice. Make sure that wick is nice and moist, because a lot of times if you burn that wick, you will not get rid of that burning taste, and you've just ruined the Clearomizer. You have to throw it, use another one. Even overnight, if you've got it attached to your battery, don't leave them standing upright like that. If you're overnight, leave them laying down. Then when you get up the next morning and you're going to use it, give them a bit of a shake, give it a bit of roll around, even hold them upside down. That's the key, keeping that wick moist. And that's really the only problem people have with these units. Excuse me, besides when they're coming to the end of their life, they're like any Clearomizer, they can leak or they can stop working. You can flood them, but it's a rare event with flooding. If you do get any flooding, which is basically a gurgling sound, the best way to try and clear it is to grab a tissue or a handkerchief or some sort of a rag or something, hold it on the bottom and then blow through the mouthpiece to clear any fluid out, and then clean underneath here and clean your battery, because they're usually gurgling. There'll be a few drops on top of your battery here, will be the main culprit. Clean it, blow through, clear any liquid out of here, dry it all off, reconnect it, and have another go. And that's really basically it. These work fairly well if they're used correctly. I've got one here that I filled about 15 minutes ago, and I've given it a bit of a swirl around. I'll just give you a demo. These produce nice vapour and a reasonable throat hit. Battery's on. You can see that produces a nice vapour, and that's working fine. I've left that for 15 minutes. I just give it a bit of a swirl around like I did with this one here, and then just left it laying down 15 minutes, and that is working spot on. There's no burning flavour at all. Producing plenty of vapour. Really good. So that's it. Remember that, minimum 10 minutes, and you should have very little trouble and an enjoyable vaping experience. Thanks for watching.